Welcome on back to Skippers. We had a big week in prospect call-ups. I'm going to break down how they should be on your priority ad list, how high they should be, how low they should be, even if you should add some of them as well. Don't forget to subscribe, join the Discord. Let's get into these 4 players. First player is Christian Encarnacion Strand of the Reds. First base, third base, 48% rostered. He is by far the most exciting prospect on this list, and he has absolutely torn up the minor leagues with a .331 average, 20 home runs, and an OPS over 1,000. The former Oklahoma State product starts his big league career at one of the most hitter-friendly parks in all of baseball. Encarnacion Strand was brought up to simply hit. Scott White writes, "Don't worry about his playing time initially, as the Reds don't seem to be as set on giving Tyler Stevenson as many at-bats as DH as they originally said." The whole Tyler Stevenson thing is a whole other story that we have to worry about, but for right now, if you're looking to pick up one of these rookies on the wire, this is a good thing for Christian Encarnacion Strand. In his 211 minor league games, he is hitting .322 with 56 home runs and 194 driven in. With how much success the Reds have had calling up minor league players this year, I can only imagine that CES will do the same thing. I think he's the top priority guy on the waiver wire this week, regardless if it is just a prospect list or not. One of the other big call-ups is Endy Rodriguez of the Pirates. He's a catcher, and he is only 7% rostered. The Pirates are done watching Austin Hedges catch as often as he is, and thus they have called up Endy Rodriguez to handle a majority of the workload behind the dish. Derek Shelton confirmed Monday that Hedges is in line to serve as the Pirates' number 2 catcher moving forward after Endy Rodriguez was promoted from AAA Indianapolis. If we look at Austin Hedges' numbers, you can see why they needed a change. He's slashing 175, 226, 227 over 177 plate appearances this season. Endy Rodriguez was gaining some big-time prospect steam after he hit .323 across 3 levels last season with 25 home runs, 95 driven in only 125 games. This year, Rodriguez had a forearm injury that has to have for sure hurt his production, as he is only hitting .268 with 6 home runs. But with how bad the catcher position has been, anyone with a little upside needs to be rostered, especially in 2 catcher leagues. So everyone who is in those deep leagues, do not worry. This is a guy you can probably be able to get, and you should need. His first game in the big leagues was a rough one, going 0-for-4 with 3 strikeouts, but anyone coming up with that much playing time promised has me intrigued. An absolute must-add in 2 catcher leagues. I'm going to monitor right now if we're in those shallower leagues, but Endy Rodriguez of the Pirates is definitely someone to look out for. Third player is Zach Geloff of the Reds. He is 10% rostered, second baseman. The A's promoted their first and third prospects this week, as Geloff is the 3rd overall prospect. And as much as I love Tyler Soderstrom, I felt like Zach Geloff deserved to be talked about. Geloff has been called up and slugged a decent amount for someone who is a second baseman, but if you look at those hits, they are bloops all over the infield on doubles and triples. Of his 4 hits in the majors, 3 of them are for extra bases. I don't think any of those, or maybe one of them, was hit over 80 miles an hour, but 2 doubles, a triple, driving in 2, as well as 2 stolen bases for Zach Geloff. In 69 games in AAA this year, Geloff is hitting .304 with 12 home runs, 44 driven in, and 20 stolen bases with an OPS of .929. A second baseman with a solid amount of pop and speed is always someone to look at on your wire. Should you find some more solid contact and continue to hit for extra bases, you should be looking at him as a solid replacement level fantasy asset. I'll be monitoring Zach Geloff for sure, and if you are in a deep roto league, I'm going to be picking him up as you have so many roster spots to fill, probably dealing with some injuries. And the last big prospect to be called up this week was Quinn Priester of the Pirates, 9% rostered. Along with Endy Rodriguez, Quinn Priester made his big league debut against the Guardians last night, which I thought was a tough matchup for him, as Cleveland was a team that doesn't strike out a lot, makes a lot of contact with the guys at the top of that order. On the surface, it was a disaster. Priester went 5 1/3, gave up 7 hits, 2 home runs, and only had 2 strikeouts. Gave up 96% zone contact rate and only had 7 whiffs. But let's look at how young he is. As a super young arm in AAA this season, he is younger than the average age by 5.2 years. He had a 4.31 ERA at Indianapolis and just under a strikeout per inning. He's a super young arm, and I don't hate the Pirates calling him up right now, but I'm going to need Quinn Priester to show me a little bit more before I'm going to make him an ad in any fantasy league. Sometimes you just do need competent starting pitching, so I'm not saying you shouldn't pick Priester up for his next start, but I'm just going to monitor him right now. I'm not really adding him anywhere, but interesting to see how his career goes. There's the scoop on 4 of the top prospects who have been called up this week. Let me know what you guys think of these guys. Any other prospects you want to know about potentially for another video. Subscribe, join the Cord, and I will see you guys later this week.